Reuben Heaton proudly sponsors the British Carp Cups.
Hello and welcome to the British Carp Cup's final 2018. We're at the magnificent Barston Lakes in the West Midlands, and we've got 30 pairs of anglers that are going to be battling it out for £15,000 and that first place trophy. Now, with a slight change to the programme and a slight change to the rules this year, every single peg is going to be in with the chance of being in that podium position.
To win the competition would be a dream.
It'd be amazing.
It's our first time entering this particular competition, and to get through to the final is exciting. And yeah, the prospect of what the weekend would hold is going to be really good. So to win it would just be a dream come true for us both, and it'd be amazing.
Everything really, because we've been at it a few years and we've been close on a few, but this is probably
we keep trying, but we get a bit older.
And we suffer some severe bad draws.
So we'd like to win. We won't retire, but it'd make us very happy.
I think the new format, especially on this lake, evens the playing field out a bit. Fishing it in previous years, obviously you've got certain swims that will catch more fish, but I think with the biggest five, total weight of your 5 biggest fish, I think it's really going to even it out, and it keeps everyone going right till the end, which is good.
I think the venue is really good. The facilities are amazing for a fishing venue, particularly. The lake is pretty awesome lake, nice and big.
It's great. There's loads of fish. It's good fun. Every time I've been here, I've really enjoyed it. And you can work at it. It's good to see that. Well, obviously we don't know what other guys are doing, but it certainly put a spin on it for the approach, because certain methods will work catching a lot of fish, and other tactics you might be able to sit it out for a slightly bigger stamp. So it's certainly made it interesting, and you can pick and choose your tactics and see what happens.
To win the competition would mean quite a lot to us both, really. I mean, it would be our first win in the competition. We've had a second in the Sevens, so it'd be nice to go one further. What about you?
Yeah, no, we've fished a number of competitions. We've got to lots of semi-finals, so to be able to win a final will be absolutely amazing. To be honest, it's we've been fishing a long time to try and win one, so we're putting everything we can into it. That's for sure.
So let's take a look at the new format in a little bit of detail. It's very simple. Whereas in years gone by it would be the accumulative weight of carp caught, this year it's only the weight of your top 5 fish that will count. So you could sit there this weekend and catch 200 fish, but still only 5 of them will count, and that is your 5 largest fish. Now, in years gone by at Barston, I could pretty much name what would be 5 of the pegs that would be on the podium. However, this year I don't have a clue, because you only need to catch 5. So 124, for instance, can do 300 fish, but could be beaten by peg 100 when only catching 5. So that is going to open up this competition massively.
Nigel's going to say a few words first before we start with the draw, so if we could have a little bit of silence. Go on!
So here we are, currently in peg 1 with Mr. Butler and Mr. Durley, doing the first weigh of the competition now. There's 30 pairs on the lake and most pairs have caught fish. So the marshals now are currently wandering around and starting to weigh the fish, so we're going to start getting some people on the leaderboard. So 6 fish out to this pair to start with, in quick succession. It hasn't been very many hours of the competition so far. And there's some good fish in there by the looks of things. Paul's struggling a little bit. His partner's going to go and give him a hand. So obviously in the competition it's only the 5 biggest fish that the competitor catches in their swim that is going to count. We're predicting somewhere north of £70 is going to be a winning weight.
£10, 8 ounces.
So the first fish for this pair is £10, 8 ounces. With the fish going up to £30 in this lake, if you could get into one of those really big fish in here, it's going to make a huge difference, especially with the average size fish in here ranging from 10 up to about £18. Peg 17, Darren Wilcox and Jason Trott, formerly Northern champions, double Northern champions these pair. They're not novices when it comes to match fishing, and they're not novices when it comes to Barston. And you can see these guys now have had their 5 fish. So they're going to try and get this one in nice and gingerly and hope that it's bigger than one of the other 5 that they've already caught. Seasoned pros, these two. Been in the match scene for a long time. Jason's as old as the hills. Oh, looks to be a nice mirror. Could be into double figures, it's hard to tell. Expertly netted there by Jason. No, that doesn't look like it'll be one of their bigger fish, so they'll just safely unhook the fish and return it back to its home. The guys are very good at guessing the weight of the fish, so they know this fish wouldn't make a difference to their weight because it's smaller. And this is where this competition really comes in with these 5 fish. They're now just going to try and wade through as many fish as they can, hoping that one of the big ones will slip up. So we're currently in Peg 16 with Welsh international Nick Davis and Steve Carey from DNA Baits. And what the boys are doing now, they've just had a flurry of fish and they're now going to grade them to work out which ones are bigger than the fish they've already caught. Their smallest fish so far is £5.10. So they're going to weigh these fish individually now. Any that are bigger than that are obviously going to be kept, and then they can work out what their smallest fish is so far caught and know which ones to keep for the marshals to weigh in. So the first one goes in. He's looking at that fish in the net. He's going to lift this one up and have a little look. Obviously, with Barston being so prolific, these guys are going to need the retainers to hold fish, and if the fish that are in the retainers are too small to bother keeping, they want to make the retainers free to hold more.
Right, Steve, so we need to keep that one to replace the 5. We need to keep that one to replace the 5.10. I'll just make a note of that.
So that fish is bigger than £5.10, so Nick's making a quick note of that. So that bumps their smallest fish size up.
So that's £7.12.
£7.12, Nick's called that one. Another small fish there that looks like it'll be below that, or below the £5.10. Obviously fish over £5 count. Anything below £5 doesn't count. For the smallest fish of 5.10, this one's going to beat that. So the 5.10 is going to be going back, is going to be eradicated.
16.10 for now.
£16 fish, so that's wiped out the 5.10, so that's gone. So now their smallest fish is just over £6, which this next fish will definitely beat.
What's that, mate?
So currently in Peg 16 with Steve Carey and Nick Davis. So a new format to the competition this year, boys. Nick, you've done some international angling. Steve, you've been in the match fishing scene for a long, long time. How do you feel it's working?
Good, yeah, good. I think it'll keep the match alive right to the death. You know, I think there's going to be quite a few pairs stuck in it right to the end. This
end of the lake is known to do quite a big weight of fish. Are you bringing a different tactic in this to what you would normally fish down here?
Not at the moment, are we?
No,
I think we're just trying to get as many fish on the board as we can to get up into that top 5. And then if we feel like we need to change tactics a bit, we can do it to try and pick the bigger fish off.
So at the minute you're trying to go for as many fish as you can rather than trying to pick out single big fish.
Find out where the spots are working, what bait's working, how it's working for us.
Yeah. And we sort of know, we know the swim reasonably well, so we know it's sort of come tea time that it starts to switch on, so we're just steady at the minute, going at it steady. And
all the anglers are very happy with this 5 big fish. Do you feel that it's really opened up this competition to any one of the pairs?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
It's made the lake even.
Yeah,
Where the lake's not easy.
we weren't really bothered where we were going to come out, really, were we?
No.
I think everything, you have a chance, don't you? If you normally come down here, if you're not out that top 6 and get those top 6 pegs, then you don't really, your head goes down pretty quick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So currently in peg 27 with our leaders, Wesley Prestige and Stephen Brown. These guys currently on £71.10. Their smallest fish is just over £13. However, they have got another one in a retainer over the £14 mark. So for this fish to be kept, it would need to be north of £14. Doesn't seem to be putting up much of a fight at the minute. Obviously it will get closer in and it will start to go a little bit, which it has done. There we go. So we'll wait to see this fish and see if it is north of that all-important £14 mark. It's moving a little bit of water, so it could be a half decent fish. No, now it's there. Looks to be somewhere around the £8 or £9 mark. So that fish won't be weighed. The boys will just get it nice and easily unhooked. So it's been a really busy first day here at Barston. What the guys have done is they've been desperate to get those first 5 fish on the bank. Now tonight I'm predicting there could be a few good fish out, as tomorrow there is some cooler weather coming and some rain. I think it's going to drop, and I have heard that on Saturday night it's going to drop even further, which means these fish could switch off. Now what the guys might want to do is try and get as many fish in now as they can, just in case it stops. But it's up to them, it's not up to me. So let's have a look at the leaderboard. In first place, Stephen Brown and Wesley Prestige with £71.10 ounce. In second place, Mark Sawyer and Simon Wheeler with £66.4. In third place, we have Jay Cartmel and Simon Burry with £64 dead.
Reuben Heaton proudly sponsors the British Carp Cups. Reuben Heaton proudly sponsors the British Carp Cups.
So currently in peg 8 with Daniel Price and Cliff Kemp. Currently on 4 fish for £48 12 ounces, £23 13 ounces away from first position, but they're only on 4 fish. Now I've just weighed in a fish of £7.10. Take them up to the high 50s, but I'm thinking that these fish are bigger than that £7.10, so that £7.10 is going to get cancelled straight away. £12.6.
12.6, Amanda.
So that takes them to £61 2 ounces, and that's a big bump in positions for them.
Merging into one.
And they believe they've got a fish that's going to outweigh one of their others again. There is only £11 separating first place from 10th place on this morning weigh-in, so this competition is getting super close. This fish looks to be around the £8 mark, £9 mark. The smallest fish at the minute is £12.6, so this won't beat that £12.6. So Daniel Price and Cliff Kemp now on 5 fish and moved up to 13th position. Currently £10 behind first. And there's still a lot of fish left in Barston to be caught. So as we move further up the lake, we are currently with Luke Church and Jason Adams in peg 10. These guys are currently on £63 14 ounces, chasing 73.4. So they are, if my calculations are correct, £9 6 ounce behind first place. Looking at that one, it's over £11 for sure. It's a very long common. So it's definitely over 11. £20 12 ounce. That fish puts these guys into the lead. And they do believe they've got another fish of £17. This has pushed these guys into the lead at this point on the Saturday morning weigh-in. Their next smallest fish is £11.7, and they're calling this fish around the £17–18 mark. So this could really give them a big buffer at the top. £18 4 ounces.
£18 4.
That's put these guys nearly £10 ahead of the next in the competition. So currently with our defending champions in peg 12 on the Saturday morning weigh-in, these guys are on £71 4 ounce. They were chasing first place of £73 4 ounce, but currently our new leaders, Luke Church and Jason Adams, are now on £81. However, these guys, their smallest fish is £8 8, and this fish is definitely going to beat that. So these are going to start going up and up and up on that leaderboard too. So far they've had fish of £17, 17, 13, 11, 15, 16 and 8, 8. That's 17, 17 and 16 are definitely good size fish for this lake. If these fish could go up around those sort of marks, then we could be looking at potentially new leaders. £8 8 is the fish to beat. This fish is going to beat it. £13.
14 ounces.
£13 14 ounces, adding another £5 6 ounces onto these guys' tally. Currently in peg 18 with Jay Carpmail and Simon Bury. Last night they were in second position with £71 9 ounces. They're currently £9 14 behind Luke Church and Jason Adams, with their smallest fish of £13 4. They believe they've got 4 fish that will go over their smallest fish. So we're going to start off with the first one. Scales have been zeroed. Lovely scaly looking mirror. Mick will do the Judy.
I think that was the smallest one.
Jay calling this is the smallest fish they've got. It's got to be bigger than £13 4 to make a difference.
£15 dead.
£15 dead. At the moment they're £1 2 ounces behind the lead with their smallest fish of £13 4, and this fish is definitely going to beat that. So it needs to be £14 6 to go ahead. £16 1, so that fish has put these guys in the lead by £1 11 ounces if my calculations are correct, but it's very cold. Trying to work out things in this weather isn't an easy thing to do. My maths aren't bad. This needs to go bigger than 15 to count. No, that one's not going to count because it's around the £13 mark, so Mick's going to throw that one back. They're going to weigh this one because it could be close, and like Jay has just said, every ounce counts in this competition. At this point in a normal competition, where it is down to the biggest weight of a cumulative amount of fish that you've caught, there will be pegs that are now thinking, well, it's time to give up, or some people might be thinking about it's all over for them. But in this competition, it is not all over, because it is only the 5 biggest fish that count. So you only need to catch a total of 5 fish. These guys have been wading through pasties all night, as they call them, which are small fish to throw back. That one's just short at £14 8, but these guys are now our current leaders as things stand. There will be some more calculating going on back at HQ just to verify all these weights, but on my working they're £1 11 ounce ahead of second place. So we're 24 hours into this competition now, and I'm joined by Hassan Khan from Angling Direct. Hassan, this competition's getting pretty close now, isn't it?
Pretty close. Despite the weather, it is certainly hotting up out there. It's unbelievable. It's very tight across the whole field, and with the new format, anybody up until that very final end of the match is in contention. I think there is only about £2 that separates the top three
that's
places.
Right. We've got some stats here just to have a little look at. The top 14 are separated by £20 over 5 fish. Now, they're averaging, the average guys that are getting up to the 80s, they're averaging 17s and 18s and things like that.
Yeah.
But there is some guys that have had some bigger fish, but they've got one small fish hanging about.
Exactly.
So do you think they're going to start changing their tactics now?
There's plenty of scope, as you said, with smaller fish like that. I mean, your average stamper fish near anything from sort of 10 to 12 pounds roughly.
Yeah.
So with bigger fish up to 18, 20 and even a couple of 30-pounders. So tactically, I think once everybody, as most people have got their 5 fish, I think it's a case of changing things, trying to single out those slightly bigger fish to push you up that
What
leaderboard.
sort of things do you think they might be trying to do?
There's many ways you can do it to single out. One of them is to use bigger hook baits. Just generally, if the size of the hook bait's bigger, the smaller fish
can't get it in the mouth.
Can't get it in the mouth,
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
The other thing is to look at maybe more sort of crude rig presentations.
Yeah.
For example, if you use a really long pop-up, it tends to sort of deter the smaller fish. So there's ways and means to go about it. The other way is just to plough through the numbers, catch majority of fish.
Which a
and
lot
just
of them are
hope.
doing. I know some of the guys I spoke to last night, they were thinking they had 20, 30 fish that they've flopped back. They're just floppers, so they're catching them. No, that's not going to beat our smallest one, flopping them back. So now this is where people are going to start switching things up. They've got their 5 fish, they're on the board, it's now just about the big fish. So let's have a little look at where the leaderboard stands at this moment. In first place, we have Jay Cartmail and Simon Burry with £83.12, with their smallest fish being £15. In second place, Luke Church and Jason Adams. They had a £20 fish, our biggest fish of the competition so far. In third place, Steve Brown and Wesley Prestige with £81.11 and their smallest fish, £15.3. So there we have it, that's our top 3, and with only £20 separating the top 14, these guys now are going to be really trying to single out them bigger fish. So me and Hassan, we're going to have a wander around the lake, have a chat with some of the guys and see if they've got anything up their sleeves to try and winkle one out.
Reuben Heaton proudly sponsors the British Carp Cups. Reuben Heaton proudly sponsors the British Carp Cups.
So we are peg 14. We're with Lee and Sean.
They're into one.
Yes, they've just had a double take, which is
unfortunately, I think one might have dropped off their bones a bit. We'll say less about that.
surprising actually with this wind. It's so cold, isn't it?
It's bitter. It's absolutely bitter.
Definitely slowed the bites down.
Yeah, but they've done well. They've latched into one in the day. It's been quiet around them, so all bodes well.
These boys have done really well in other competitions in the country
Yeah.
this year, and actually have been entered into the England squad this year.
Really?
Yeah.
There we go.
So they'll be joining the squad this year.
Certainly proving their pedigree here.
Yeah.
It is slow and they're catching, which is brilliant. Let's hope this comes in. Are you, just out of interest, Mr. Bones, do you play your fish with your rod low to the water or high in the air, mate?
Depends what's out in front of me.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, so if it's quite a weedy lake and I've dropped the lead, I'll try and keep the tip up to keep the fish over the top.
Yep.
Whereas if I know there's nothing in front of me, I'll keep my tip down.
Yeah.
Because what it does, it keeps the fish low in the water.
Exactly.
And the fish just comes straight at you, so you get it in a lot quicker. It's a matchman tactic from
I
sitting on the
definitely
box.
find that. Oh, it's definitely been adopted from sort of matchman style angling, but it definitely gets them in quicker. It sort of works with their hydrodynamics and
That's it.
skims them in really quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, it also controls the fish. You can control the fish a lot more. If the fish is kiting to the left, and you drop your tip to the left, it tends to make the fish kite to the right.
Yes.
So you can keep it in your area, and it's what matchmen do when they're sat on the box.
Yeah.
So that fish looks like it's getting quite close now, Hassan.
Oh, close. We've got Sean on the net.
He's going to get
He's
down
doing a
there.
good job at knitting one, purling five, and getting it through the other lines.
There's a lot of the lake's lost a little bit of water depth this year with that hot
Yeah.
weather.
What would that look like? There's you there. Is that a double? It's a nice common.
Yeah, it could be.
Could be a
That
double.
could make a difference.
Well
The smallest
done,
fish is
boys.
just over 11 pounds, so that fish is going to be weighed by the guys to get an idea. It looks like it could do.
It could
yeah,
do,
it's quite a
yeah,
bit
it's
of thickness
close,
to it.
isn't it? It's close.
So we're in Peg 2 with Lee May and Paul Smith. You're regulars to this competition, boys. Is this the first time in the final?
It is the first time in the final, yes. Qualified from Orchard Place. Last year we had a bit of a poor draw at Willows. Last out of the bag, duff swim is what it is.
Yeah, but this time, I'd say didn't smash it up, but we won by an ounce.
No, it doesn't matter whether it's an ounce or a pound, you got through.
Yeah.
So you're currently in 24th with this new format of 5 fish. You're on £53, average of just over £10. Have you had a lot of small fish?
Yeah, loads. Last night the buzzer didn't stop going. It was like 4 or 5 pounders all night and a few F1s thrown in. So yeah, nightmare.
So pretty carnagey, no sleep. So are your tactics going to change now to try and pick out some bigger fish?
We need doubles basically. And we've been trying to go through the numbers to try and pick up the bigger fish, and it hasn't happened. We're catching F1s, like I say, Paul is catching 5, 6 pounders, I'm catching 5, 6 pounders, and we had 8 was our smallest. So we now want the doubles. We need big doubles to climb back up the leaderboard.
So are you changing anything?
Yes.
Yes.
Bigger
We've been
baits.
Changing bigger baits.
Stop the smaller fish being able to pick them up?
Yeah, to an extent.
Well, hopefully it'll work for you boys, and you never know. Hopefully we'll be seeing you on that podium finishing spot later on.
We'll be giving it a go till the end.
Levi Letchford, Darren Pearce. They're in 18th position. They're in peg 19. And this looks like it might be a decent fish.
Certainly moving slower, kited on a tight line.
You can see it moving some water most certainly. Judging by its head, that looks to be a better fish. That could be a good fish, actually.
It's in the net, well done.
Well in the net, that's a better fish.
Yeah, I think that is a better
Definitely a better fish.
That is a better fish
With
indeed.
their smallest fish being £10, that fish is going to make a difference to these boys. They're currently on £60, 13 ounces. That fish looks to be a good upper double to me.
It's a classic example of this format, just making it so exciting all the way to the end. That fish changes the whole prospect in terms of potentially going from the bottom of the leaderboard all the way to the top.
Well, if they added £9 on that fish, that will take them up to 7th position.
Yeah, unbelievable. It's a lovely fish, lovely conditioned.
Fantastic.
Well done, boys. I believe it's your smallest fish at the moment, chaps.
Oh, £10.
So the smallest fish is £10.
Oh,
and we've got an
18.4.
That's
Fish.
definitely a whale. Fantastic. Well done, boys. And that's the fish you've just had, boys. Brilliant. You've got another one to weigh as well. In you go. I think
these boys
that's
getting
going
much
to be
higher on the
11.
leaderboard, yeah.
They've done well with the late charge of action, haven't they?
Yeah. Found a new spot, Levi was saying.
Yeah.
Slightly different to where they'd already been fishing, and they've managed to pull a couple of nice sized fish off
He
it.
did say that he put some bait on the spot, left it, and then saw a flat spot. 13.5, definitely better than 11. Well
They've
done.
got a nice ghosty. That was the next one.
So as I was saying, yeah, he basically put some bait on a spot, left it, rested it, saw a flat spot, and then straight back out on it.
And better stamp of fish.
Yeah, it's definitely caught the better stamp of fish. Look at this.
Look at that, beautiful.
Lovely ghost carp. 12.5.
Yeah.
That's bigger than 11.11. So yeah, all three. Wales, well done, boys.
So here we are, Hassan, peg 10. Jason Adams and Luke Church.
Currently in second, mate.
They are, mate. Yeah, I think it's they're £1 3 ounce to match with the leaders.
Yep.
Their smallest fish is £13 dead.
And this looks close.
I think it should do it.
Hopefully it'll do it and push them over.
No, it's not.
Is it not?
Mick shaking his head.
What are we at? What's the magic number?
11.13.
11.13. So
Some
unfortunately,
misleading, some of these fish, aren't they?
yeah, it's
You look
hard
at
to
them,
size, especially if you, as you say, if you're just literally hooking them, they're in the edge. You know, you might
we
as
were
well get
trying
them
to
weighed
guess
and
them
see.
through the day, and I'd have guessed that was a little bit bigger than that. But these guys are going to be open to hoping the fish are. But obviously, the best way to do it is weigh them before we come round.
You wouldn't want to put back a fish that could potentially cost you first place, would you?
That's right, yeah. So here we are in peg 10 with Luke Church and Jason Adams. You boys are currently in second place. Now you're £1 4 ounces away from being in the lead. What's your smallest fish at the minute?
Smallest fish is £13 on the nose, so anything, would need a 14.4, which is realistic.
That's very doable. I mean, your average has been pretty good. What's your biggest fish?
£20,
12.
So that's really helped you, that £20 fish. I think you're the only £20 fish out in the lake, aren't you?
Yeah, so far.
Brace of 20 and an 18 together, wasn't it?
morning.
That's £38 on the board this morning.
Have you done anything different to try and single out these big fish?
It was just sat on our hands, really. It was as much as hard. Yesterday was hard with no bites. We did think about changing things up, but we knew what we were doing was working.
We came for practice, and to be honest, we had more doubles than singles in practice. So yeah, we stuck with that. And okay, in the match conditions, we could have changed it slightly, but to be honest, we stuck to our guns. Last night produced. We had that break at 20 and the 18. So although it's not really having it now, it seems to be the same around the pond. So we'll stick with it.
This weather's dropped, hasn't it? Yes. We're very cold now, and we've had a bit of rain this morning. Are you still confident of getting another bite though?
Definitely. We don't feel like there's loads of fish in front of us. However, that could be a good thing in a way because we're not fishing for the single figure fish. So we're perhaps thinking maybe the bigger fish although there's
Away
less fish
from
out
all
here,
the
there might be
action.
some bigger ones, you know, and the little ones are not getting to the bait quicker, and
We don't
the spot's
want 20
quiet and
runs,
stuff,
we don't
so
want
it
20
might,
runs, we want
it
one
might sort
good
of.
fish, that's all we
And
need.
tactically, how have you approached it? If you want to give us a little bit of insight, but obviously we won't spread this to anyone else.
Mostly fishing boilies.
Yeah?
Just boilies over boilies.
Big baits and then just sat on it, and most of your bites have come at night time, is that right?
We had some early on.
Okay.
We had 4 or 5 bites early on, and then to be honest, it went quiet all afternoon, all evening, and then into the night was sort of. You keep your head, you stay confident what you're doing, and then sort of around 11 o'clock last night, all of a sudden the rods just started going, and
well, it's definitely working for you boys, isn't it? And hopefully you'll be able to bag that 14-4 and go into the lead.
Fingers crossed.
Only
We'll
time
keep
will
trying.
tell.
Good luck, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So Hassan, as we finish the one side of the lake, we're around the other side of the lake with our current leaders in peg 18, Jay Cartmale, Simon Bury.
Another potential weigher.
Now I think the smallest fish at the moment, they've got 2 fish, exactly £15.
And that mirror looks borderline.
It is
You get it. They're all
borderline, yeah.
close calls at this point, aren't they?
Everybody
My
wants
fish
to-
guessing skills as well aren't the best.
No, mine are even worse.
So I'm glad Mr. Coxon's here with his scales.
What's it going to do?
Oh, the magic number. Oh, they've done
They've
it.
done it, yeah.
£16.7.
£16,
Well
7
done.
ounce.
And a
They're gonna be pleased with
lovely
that.
mirror at that.
It's added another £1 7 ounce onto their tally. That's £2.10 ahead of Luke
Good
and
maths,
Jason now.
Mr. Baines. Good maths.
As long as it's correct.
Yeah, I
As
think
long as
you're
it's
correct. I'll back you, mate. Well done, boys.
Might get a smile out of Si for
Yeah,
it,
we
but
might.
you know that's
Not
not,
normally
an
a
easy thing to
smiler.
do.
No. Oh yes, he's smile.
Oh,
I think that's
there
a
it is
smile.
on
That's
there,
a
look.
smile and
Yeah,
a
that's
thumbs
a
up.
smile and a thumbs up. So as the day ticks on, we're in peg 18. Simon Bury and Jay Cartmale are current leaders, but you're leading by a mere £1 3 ounce, boys. Apparently, I have heard you've got another one in the bag.
So yeah, so I had one about 10 minutes ago. We've weighed it, so it was £16.9.
And currently your smallest fish is?
15. So yeah, give us another £1.09.
Change of tactics, brought that on?
Not really, just plugging away, same spots, keep the bait trickling in. Slowed up a lot with it. We've had a bit of weather change over the last sort of 12 hours, and I think that's affected the fishing. Certainly up this end's got a lot slower, but just keep trickling it in and hope that we catch a big one.
Well, it has affected the whole lake. Hassan and I have been wandering around the lake a little bit, and you've noticed it, haven't you?
Decidedly, at the other end of the lake, the opposite end of the lake to you boys, is certainly cooler, but generally all round, this cold breeze, the drop in temperature, the fish really aren't responding and feeding at all. So you're doing well to at least be in contention with another weigher, and it's all good if you're in first place and you've got one in the weigh sling. So well done, boys.
I think we've been lucky really with obviously a stamp of fish, so I caught
Yeah.
2 18s pretty much first few fish, weren't they?
Yeah.
And then other than that, I mean, we have been putting sort of 14 pounders back, which obviously is, if it was in an overall weight match, it would be, what?
You'd be killing it, I think, by now, boys, wouldn't you?
It's a good match, obviously. The format it is a good match as it stands now, but also if it was an out-and-out weight, it'd also be a good match because there's a lot of good anglers that are putting fish back, so you know the accumulative weight as well would be a good match. So
We have heard though that Luke Church and Jason Adams have landed another fish. They're your closest competitor at the moment. Are you worried about them?
well, we're worried about them, but to be fair, the field's that close. Anyone out of probably maybe up to 10 pairs could potentially win it come tomorrow morning. So, but they are obviously the closest at the minute, so we'd like them to be a little bit smaller than our fish, and obviously us keeping the lead for as long as we can.
That's all you can do now, fellas.
I think the good thing we've got, obviously, it's 8 o'clock finish in the morning, so
yeah.
Few
and
fish overnight.
This peg does fish well at night, so I mean I don't know now how it's cold, but
Kiss of death now.
We'll wait and see. Only time will tell, boys. We'll see you in the morning.
Reuben Heaton proudly sponsors the British Carp Cups. Reuben Heaton proudly sponsors the British Carp Cups.
So peg 27, Steve Brown, Wesley Prestige. Boys, you've had a manic day of fish, haven't you? But your smallest fish is what?
15.3.
15.3. So how many fish have you gone through today trying to beat that?
Probably 50, 60 fish.
Yeah, we're over 1,000 now.
Is it?
Easy.
Would you say that your spirit's slightly broken, boys?
It's just getting annoying, just bringing in 6, 7
Every time you
pounders.
get them, you're just going.
So tactically, are you going to do anything or employ anything that's going to hopefully mean that the next fish that you hook
Make
is
a big
well
change,
We
maybe.
have done a little bit of change, put some bigger baits on,
Okay.
and we're trying some hinge stiff rigs as well. Potentially, hopefully, some bigger fish will come and play ball.
Try and get past some of these smaller fish that are plaguing you.
Yeah.
But at this point in the match, there hasn't been a huge amount of fish over that 15-pound core. But you're quite confident of getting another one that'll add to your weight?
Well, we had 5 last night over £15, so they're obviously in the swim in the evening. So hopefully tonight we can get a couple more.
They come in the morning, don't they?
Yeah, early morning. But the problem is, sort of, it finishes at 8 o'clock, and our bite time has been just before 8. So
Well, as long as you land them in that net,
Exactly.
they're going to count. Well, hopefully, boys.
Dying minute here, I think.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll be back here in the morning with them to see them.
Good luck tonight.
See them on the podium.
Cheers, thank you.
So, guys, with under 12 hours of this competition left, let's have a quick recap of what's been going on the day. Hassan, it's been an interesting old day today, hasn't it?
Interesting is a word for it, Mr. Bones. It has certainly been a cooler day. It's dropped, hasn't it?
Oh, this temperature's freezing. I've had to add an extra jumper underneath my jacket.
Even me, as a hardened northerner, I've got a jumper under the jacket. It's going to be even cooler tonight, but there's certainly been some action despite conditions, hasn't there?
Yeah, the guys, we talked this morning a little bit about that people were going to start changing their tactics. They got their 5 fish on the board, didn't
Exactly.
they? And do you think it has worked for some people, or do you think it's made much difference to them?
It's one of those, it's very difficult to tell. Obviously, fish are still feeding, there's still being masses of fish caught. Now that people have got 5 fish, a lot of those fish aren't weighers and they're just being put back. And there's got to be something that you've got to try. So a lot of people are hedging their bets. They're fishing 1 or 2 rods just for numbers, and hoping that a bigger fish drops in.
Really
and
wading through some fish as well, aren't we?
Some numbers.
We saw Wesley Prestige and Steve Brown earlier. They were talking 50, 60 fish through the day, which is an incredible amount of fish to get through.
Exactly.
Hoping to get one that was bigger than the 15-pounder they're aiming for.
And then there's definitely been, as you say, a change in tactics. There's been bigger baits employed. There's been more cruder presentations in terms of rigs. Just hoping that instead of getting consistent action by smaller fish, that something bigger will be landed.
I think a few people have got to the point now where they're a bit fed up of catching the smaller fish.
Definitely.
They're not looking for that big weight now. They're looking for the big fish. And this could be a point where some people could make the mistake of changing and stop catching. And when they stop catching, they might miss out on catching that fish.
Exactly. Exactly. You can be too crude, and especially with conditions changing, you never really know what impact that's going to have on the fish, especially tonight as it's due to drop really, really
And it is
cold,
down
isn't
to 2 degrees tonight, which can affect a shallow lake like this. I mean, we've had bites through this afternoon. We've had a few bigger fish, but it has slowed down already, hasn't it?
Certainly seems that a benchmark figure at the moment is that 15-pound mark. Once you're sort of above that, that's a real bonus fish. But that 15-pound mark's where you need to get to on your minimum sort of lowest weighed fish.
So our current leaders are Jay Cartmail and Simon Bury. Will they hold it to the morning?
Who knows?
Well, as predicted, last night was freezing. This morning the cars are all frosty and winter is finally on its way. But did it affect the fishing? There was a few fish caught through the night. I know our leaders have had a bigger fish, and I do know that Luke Church and Jason Adams, who are in the chasing, have also had a bigger fish. But this competition finishes in 1 hour. It's 7 AM, it's the Sunday morning, and it's the final weigh-in. I think we better head round the lake, check it out, and find out who's going to take the title. So in the dying minutes of the match, we're in peg 20 with the Dunn brothers. A lovely 16-pound 9 mirror for them. Could it make a difference to the leaderboard? Nobody will know until that final presentation. Typical stamp of the fish here at Barston. Some great carp angling to be had. And these anglers have made the most of it. You can see Ricky there looking like Yoda with his hood over his head. He's a Jedi of the carp world. So here we are on the final morning, and it was a fairly quiet night last night. With these temperatures dropping, what it does is it drops the temperature of the lake. Nige, the owner of the lake, tested the water this morning, and it's gone from 16 degrees down to 11. So that gives you an idea of how cold it actually was last night. We have just heard the final hooter go, and that means that this competition is now at an end. This is the British Carp Cup's Championship Trophy. In this trophy there'll be £15,000 for one of those pairs of anglers on this lake. The only way we're going to find out who is going to be lifting this trophy is at the all-important presentation. Jason Adams, Luke Church, last night you were in second position moving into the night, weren't you?
Yeah.
Did you have any more fish to weigh in?
We did. Two fish after the last scoreboard, a 15.7 and a 15.9.
So you've added a bit of weight to your score?
Yeah.
You know the other guys have weighed fish as well?
I think so, yeah.
What I can tell you is I know that the top two are separated by 3 ounces. What's that do to your nerves? Makes it very close, doesn't it?
Jesus. Well, we thought it was going to come down to the wire, and to be honest, we were talking ounces anyway.
We said this format would do it, and the format's definitely worked.
Yeah.
Definitely worked.
It was going to be a case of once you start hitting a certain point, it is then going to be like ounces as opposed to pounds, and the gap was, you're only adding bits at a time.
Smaller and smaller.
So it's going to get tighter and tighter.
Well, it is very tight at the top. That's all I can tell you. I don't know who's won. The only person who knows is Mick Coxon, and he's going to announce it at the presentation. So, in we go. On to the presentation.
Fingers crossed. Cheers.
Thank you.
Jay Carpmel, Simon Bury. You were first going into the night. Now, nobody knows what was caught last night apart from Mick, the organiser. However, I can tell you, between the top 2 spots is 3 ounces. Do you think you've held on to it?
I don't know, I mean, we had 2 weighers this morning by ounces, and last night I think we was behind by a bit, so I don't know, I mean, either way, Chris, really, it's
been a great competition.
It has, amazing, yeah.
The
really,
top
really
5
tight.
has definitely worked for this lake.
Absolutely.
Definitely. It's opened the competition up completely, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it as well. The weather has been poor last night, freezing. So next year, if he's got it a little bit earlier in the year, it could make it even more competitive. Yeah. And
but it has at the moment, like with the top 5 spaces, they're spread out over the whole lake. Whereas normally, you guys know it well. You fish competitions. Barston is quite a predictable venue for which areas are going to do well.
Yeah.
However, this has thrown it all over the shop, and it's made it fantastic, hasn't it?
Well, when we come, we sort of said Wader would win it, didn't we? Because wade through the fish.
You get a lot of fish,
and it's a numbers game, but clearly not. I mean, we knew obviously the Pilot End does big fish, so
yeah.
And again, I think we're just lucky with the size of fish that we picked up. So.
Yeah.
Well, the only person who knows who's won it now is Mick Coxon. We're going to head into the presentation and we're going to find out who's in that position.
Fingers crossed.
I don't really know what I can say. It was so tight that even I didn't know until we put the results in. I really didn't. I had a clue, but it kept changing all the time, right through the weekend. 3 ounces separating the top 2. So, we've got second place on 85.14, first place on £86 1 ounce. It's Cy Berry and Jay Carpmel.
So the presentation over, let's have a quick recap of what the scores were. In first place we had Jay Carpmel and Simon Bury with £86 1 ounce. In second place we had Luke Church and Jason Adams with £85.14. In third place we had Steve Brown, Wesley Prestige with £81.11, and in fourth place last year's champions Richie Collins and Kevin Locke with £79.12. Simon, Jay, what a result, eh?
Shocked, I am really shocked. Yeah.
It come right down to the wire. This format has made it so good, hasn't it? I mean, you guys had no idea this morning. You knew you were up there, but you knew it was tight, didn't you?
Yeah, I think, to be fair, it could have been. It's literally a match that anyone could win Sunday morning. It's not, even though you're in the running, someone could have 5 good doubles in a morning spell on air, and you could be bumped third.
Well, the peg that Luke, the peg that Luke and Jason were in would be a peg if you turned up on a match on Barston normally, is a peg that you wouldn't want to be in, would it?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, I'm shocked they did it from there, but I think they had the majority of numbers, you see. I think they had...
They hooked 17 fish. They hooked and landed. But if you were turning up to Barston to be in an all-out match, It's not a fancied area, which has showed that this has worked this year.
Yeah,
For you guys, what a fantastic result.
Oh yeah, mate,
you got the trophy, your name's on it again, Simon.
That's right, yeah.
And Jay, your name's on there, and who knows, could it be on there again next year?
Hope so. We're going to try again. So, but it's been a good match, good venue, mixed. You know, ran a good competition, and like you say, it could have been anyone's, but it's ours. Give me my £7.5 grand. Cash.
I'm really pleased for you boys. Hopefully we'll see you again
Cheers,
next
Chris,
year.
thanks.
Cheers, Chris.
So there we have it. What a fantastic competition it has been here this week at Barston. The new format has definitely been a big winner because everybody that was fishing this lake was well within a chance down to those dying minutes. However, it was only ever going to be one pair that were crowned champions. But who knows, next year, could it be you? If you fancy giving it a go, why not head over to the britishcarpcups.co.uk and enter yourself in, and maybe next year it could be you standing with me and £15,000.
Reuben Heaton proudly sponsors the British Carp Cups.